Hello and welcome back to Bladed Game Chats. I'm your host Alex, and today I am here with my co-host Riley.
Howdy, howdy!
This is the show where we offer an honest and thorough discussion of personal experiences playing video games firsthand. We want to create a space to appreciate games and converse about their contribution to the gaming industry and culture. So if you are wondering what a video game is about, or wanting a full deep dive conversation, we are here to help make decisions, review video games, and talk about what it means to the people and how they inspire creativity in their own lives. Today we are pointing our blade to Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. This game is developed by Gearbox Software and published by 2K. The consoles that this game is available to play on are Xbox, PlayStation, and Steam. So let's jump into what the basic premise is. So this is an action role-playing first-person shooter video game. It is also a spin-off to the Borderlands series, and a sequel to Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep. The game is set within the world of a fantasy-themed tabletop role-playing game. So Riley, I wanted to talk about with you what our first impressions were when we picked up the game for the first time.
Right. So I had never played a Borderlands game. I had seen it, so I knew like the art style. The art style is the thing where you see it and you're like, oh yeah, this is Borderlands.
Right. I haven't played Borderlands previously to this either.
No, yeah.
I think the main thing that interests us the most about it was because it was D&D.
Right. It's one of the lots of games that are coming out now that are trying to draw a parallel to D&D.
For some reason, I just think this game, out of the ones that we've tried playing that is D&D themed, this one really delves into the humor of D&D, because like everything is about a dice, like a roll dice, and based on that number, an outcome happens. And so I think this game really plays with the idea of all of these people are sitting at a table playing D&D, but we, as the players in the video game, are playing their characters in-game. And so I think that's really cool, because not only are we those characters, we get to customize our own characters personally as well.
Right. We are our own heroes, and then we get to break the fake fourth wall that exists between the D&D world that we're playing in and the quote-unquote real world, which is just Borderlands, where a whole bunch of Borderlands main characters are coming together and playing not Dungeons and Dragons. What's the name of the game that they play? It's called, I think, like, is it Bunkers and Baddies or something like that?
Bunkers and Badasses.
Bunkers and Badasses.
And so that is specifically from one of the characters from Borderlands, Tina. And I think she is just a hilarious DM, because there are just moments of improv that, like, randomly happen in game. That, like, we'll be running up to a boss or whatever, or, like, we end up killing someone that is, like, really important to the story, and then she's just kind of like, well, damn, I wasn't planning on this, now unicorns appear out of nowhere, like...
Right. You really feel like you're just, like, actually playing a game based on what playing D&D actually looks like, where the players are so crazy that they just try and do every which way thing, and I think that led to, like, my literal most favorite moment in the entire game. Like, we were in, like, the main city, and there's a, like, ocean, or a bay, or a lake, or something.
Right, I remember.
And then the dark castle that we needed to go to. And we're like, alright, we need a boat. And so we go off and we find someone who's good at making boats, and we get them to the dock, and we're like, alright, cool, here you go. And I think they were like, yo, pay me? And we were like, we need a spell. We were talking to the music people, because we needed the spell to make it so that we could sail without dying.
Right.
And so we went and found this whatever spell we needed, and just blew up the ocean, and now there's no more ocean. You never know what's coming next. And you never know what crazy shit Tina's gonna throw at you.
But I feel like that's also an aspect of D&D in general, because we ended up, once the ocean disappeared, we ended up actually going into the land as the next map, and being able to play.
Right, so instead of sailing, we're not sailing anymore, we're just walking on the ocean floor. I think games with a connection to D&D always have a special meaning to me, because new ways of exploring very similar themes. We can play Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, and it's a video game, and it's still like fantasy. Well, we have guns and spells, and it's crazy.
It's a twist on what D&D is, but also a twist on what Borderlands
Right.
is. And I think the combination really helps because there's not many fun multiplayer games these days.
Right.
And I feel like this is one where we can stop playing for like weeks on end, but then come back and we can just hop right into it.
Because as soon as you hop right in, then you're just shooting and vaguely remember where the story set you off. So.
Right, but this is also a game where there's so much story that you could keep playing for hours and hours and hours. And I feel like at that point, that's pretty much why we end up stopping at random times, because it gets very repetitive. But I mean, that's what a grindy game like this is.
Yeah.
You keep going, you keep leveling up your character, and the farther you go, the more powerful you become. But I think also at a certain point, nothing really changes other than maybe like the area you're in and the creatures that are in that area, but the creatures stay in specific places.
Right.
I think, speaking of like mechanics, one of the coolest things that was brought to this game that I thought was interesting to mention was the fact that you're going from first person to third person a lot.
Oh yeah, because you have that like over map view that we get to walk around too.
That kind of gives like a nod to D&D because like the character minifigs are like walking around on the battle map, and that's sort of like what you're doing when you're trying to travel to another location. You're like walking across the map. And I feel like that is a really cool aspect, and it's different than other games out there.
Right.
So for those who know nothing about this game, or even nothing about Borderlands, we were right there with you. This spin-off, it's its own thing. You don't have to have any previous knowledge from the previous trilogy. This is a type of game that you can just hop in with some friends and play around.
And that playing around means you destroy literally everything in your path, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
It makes you feel very powerful with all the spells and all the different weapons. You can hold 4 weapons, and there is so many things you could pick up. I think that's another thing, is loot.
Oh god, there's so much.
Yeah, being able to defeat a really hard boss and then get like a treasure chest full of loot is the best feeling. And I feel like this game really leans into that as well. So I feel like if you're looking for a fun party game with your friends, this is definitely something that you could pick up easily. If you're used to first-person shooter games, and this is also something that you can really learn quickly, I would say keep in mind that it does get a little boring after a while if you sit through it for so long, but it does have that playability that makes you want to come back to it. Okay, so this is the part of the episode where we're going to score it. I feel like this would be a 7 out of 10 for me. It's a little uncommon, but it's a worthy recommendation, but it's also not everybody's cup of tea. What would you rate it, Riley?
I personally give it an 8 out of 10 because I very much like the level tree. Everything that happens as you're progressing through the game, it feels like you're actually making progress.
Right. It's a little bit overwhelming, but also it's a lot of the same stuff.
So. Right.
Alright, well that leaves this episode of Tiny Tina's Wonderlands as a 7.5 out of 10, which is the average of our score rate. And if you made it this far, thank you so much for listening to Bladed Game Chats, and thank you, Riley, for co-hosting on this episode.
Thank you for inviting me. I had a great time.
So tune in next time where we point our blade to the next video game and find out what they mean to you. Bye!